The smell hit Sofia Reyes before she even turned the corner into the alley copper mixed with garbage and rain-soaked concrete. She should have kept walking. In this part of Hell's Kitchen, you learned early that curiosity could get you killed. But 6 years as an ER nurse had rewired her instincts. That metallic scent meant blood. A lot of it. She pulled her phone from her scrub's pocket, finger hovering over 911 as she peered into the darkness. The streetlight at the alley's mouth barely penetrated the shadows, but it was enough to see the shape slumped against the brick wall. A man. Not moving. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. Please be drunk, she whispered to herself. Please just be drunk and sleeping it off. But drunks didn't leave blood trails. Sofia's shift at Mount Sinai had ended 20 minutes ago. She should be halfway, home by now, should be relieving Mrs. Chen, who was watching Maya, should be collapsing into bed for exactly 5 hours before her cleaning job started at 3 in the morning. Her feet ached. Her back screamed from 12 hours of lifting patients. The last thing she needed was to get involved in whatever this was. The man groaned low and pained. That sound made the decision for her. Sofia stepped into the alley, her sneakers splashing through puddles from the earlier rain. "Sir, can you hear me? I'm a nurse. I'm going to help you." As she got closer, details emerged from the shadows. Expensive suit, now ruined with blood and mud. Dark hair, soaked through. Strong hands pressed against his side where crimson leaked between his fingers. This wasn't a mugging victim. The suit alone probably cost more than Sofia made in 3 months. She knelt beside him, professional training overriding her fear. "I need to see the wound. Can you move your hands?" His head lifted slowly, and Sofia found herself staring into the most intense brown eyes she'd ever seen. Even clouded with pain, they were sharp, assessing, dangerous. His face was all hard angles and dark stubble, handsome in a brutal way that made her heart stutter for reasons that had nothing to do with the emergency. "You need to leave." His voice was rough, accented Italian maybe. "Not safe here. You're bleeding out. I'm not leaving." Sofia reached for his hands, trying to pull them away from the wound. "Let me see." Stubborn. Despite everything, his lips twitched. "They're coming back. You need to. They're not coming back for at least 20 minutes. Sofia kept her voice calm, authoritative, the same tone she used in the ER when panicked family members tried to interfere. "Gunshot wounds bleed fast but kill slow if you know what you're doing. And whoever shot you thinks you're already dead. Or they would have finished the job. So we have time. Now move your hands." He stared at her for a moment, something flickering in those dark eyes. Surprise, maybe. Then, slowly, he moved his hands. The bullet had entered just below his ribs on the left side. Entry wound, no exit. The bullet was still in there. Blood pulsed out steadily, not arterial spray, thank God. But bad enough. Sofia shrugged off her jacket and pressed it against the wound. "Keep pressure here. Hard. I'm calling an ambulance." His hand shot out, gripping her wrist with surprising strength for someone who'd lost this much blood. "No hospitals. No police. You have a bullet in you. You need surgery. I have doctors. Private ones." His grip tightened. "No hospitals." Sofia's stomach dropped. She'd treated enough gang members and criminals in the ER to recognize that particular brand of desperation. Whatever this man was involved in, it was the kind of thing that couldn't see daylight. She should call 911 anyway. Should walk away and let the professionals handle it. But something in his eyes stopped. Her not just the pain, but something else. Something that looked almost like resignation. Like he'd accepted this was how his story ended. Sofia had seen that look before. In her father's eyes, right before the cancer took him. In her mother's, 6 months later when grief had finally consumed her. She'd promised herself she'd never ignore that look again. "Fine. No hospitals." She pulled out her phone. "But I'm calling someone who can help. A doctor I work with, he does off-book work sometimes. He'll ask questions, but he'll come. Your friend." The man's breathing was getting shallower. "He can be trusted?" "More than whoever did this to you." Sofia dialed doctor. Marcus Webb's number, praying he'd answer at 11:30 on a Tuesday night. He picked up on the third ring. "Sofia? What's wrong?" "Marcus, I need you. Off the books. Gunshot wound. Still has the bullet. Patient refuses hospital." A pause. Marcus had worked in the ER long enough to know what that meant. "Where?" "Alley between 47th and 48th, west of 9th Avenue. Back entrance of the old industrial building. I can be there in 15 minutes. Keep him conscious. Keep pressure on the wound. I know. Sofia hung up and turned back to her patient. His eyes were starting to drift closed. Hey, no sleeping. What's your name? Dangerous question. But he answered anyway. Dante. Sofia's blood went cold. She knew that name. Everyone in this neighborhood knew that name, even if they pretended they didn't. Dante Moretti. The man who controlled everything from the docks to the Diamond District. The man whose family had run New York's underworld for 3 generations. The man whose face had been burned into her memory 6 months ago, when she'd stumbled out of the wrong building at the wrong time and seen something she was never supposed to see. Her hands started shaking. Dante's eyes sharpened, registering her reaction. You know me. It wasn't a question, Sofia forced herself to keep pressure on the wound even as every instinct screamed at her to run. Everyone knows you. No. His gaze pinned her like a butterfly to a board. You know me. Specifically. How? I don't. You went pale the second you heard my name. Your hands are shaking. You've seen me before. Each word took effort, but his focus never wavered. Where? Sofia's mind raced back to that night in April. She'd been leaving her cleaning job at the Castellano Industries building. The company was under investigation, but they still needed their offices cleaned. She'd taken the stairs instead of the elevator because she was running late and the elevator was slow. 4th floor. She'd pushed open the stairwell door by mistake, thinking it was the ground floor. And there, in the hallway, she'd seen them. 2 men holding Dante Moretti, this Dante Moretti by the arms. A 3rd man, older, expensive suit, standing in front of him. She'd been too far away to hear what they were saying, but she'd seen the older man pull out a gun, seen Dante's face bloody, defiant, furious. She'd frozen for maybe 3 seconds. Then she'd seen the older man's eyes flick toward her. She'd run. Down the stairs. Out the back door. She'd run until her lungs burned and her legs gave out. Then she'd hidden in a 24-hour bodega until dawn, terrified they'd come after her. The next morning, the news reported that Dante Moretti had been questioned by the FBI about a series of murders in rival gang territory. That evidence had been found linking him to the crimes. That he was awaiting trial. Sofia had known it was a setup. She'd seen the men who had him, seen the gun. But she'd said nothing because speaking up meant admitting she'd been there. Meant becoming a target. Meant putting Maya in danger. So she'd kept her mouth shut, moved apartments the next week, and prayed no one had gotten a good look at her face. I don't know what you're talking about, she said now, her voice barely steady. Dante's hand moved from the wound to her chin, tilting her face toward the faint light. Blood smeared across her cheek from his fingers. Liar. You were there. April 15th. Castellano building. 4th floor. Sofia's throat closed. He'd seen her. All this time she'd thought she'd escaped unnoticed, but he'd seen her. You vanished, Dante continued, his voice getting weaker but no less intense. Changed addresses. Changed routes. I had people looking everywhere. Do you have any idea what you cost me by running? I didn't see anything. The lie came automatically. You saw everything. His hand dropped, strength fading. You saw Sal Castellano and his men. You saw them frame me. And then you disappeared like smoke. I was scared. The truth burst out before she could stop it. I'm nobody. I'm a nurse. I have a little sister to take care of. I couldn't. I know. Dante's eyes were drifting closed again. Sofia Reyes, 26, ER nurse at Mount Sinai, night janitor at 3 different office buildings, raising your 8-year-old sister Maya after your parents died 2 years ago, live in a 1-bedroom in Washington Heights, take the A train to work, buy groceries at the bodega on 163rd every Sunday. Horror washed over Sofia in a cold wave. You've been watching me, trying to find you. There's a difference. His breathing was getting more labored. You're the only witness who can prove I didn't kill those men. The only person who can identify Sal. You disappeared before I could ask for your help. So you stalked me instead? I was going to approach you, explain, offer protection in exchange for testimony. His eyes met hers, and for the first time, she saw something besides danger there. Something almost like regret. But Sal's people found you first. Didn't they? Sofia thought about the man who'd followed her home last week. The black car that kept appearing outside Maya's school. The flowers delivered to the hospital with no card-attached roses with the thorns still on. Warning gifts. How did you know? Because they've been watching you too, waiting to see if you'd come forward, waiting to see if I'd make contact. Dante's hand found hers over the wound. His fingers were getting cold. If you're hooked on this story, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything and helps me bring you more emotional stories like this one. They tried to kill me tonight because they think I'm getting too close to clearing my name. And when they realize I survived, they're going to assume you helped me. You're in danger now. Both of you. Both of Sofia's breath caught. Maya, they wouldn't. She's 8 years old. Dante's expression was grim. Sal Castellano doesn't care. Anyone who can hurt me is fair game. That includes witnesses. That includes their families. The world tilted. Sofia had spent 6 months trying to protect Maya by staying silent, and now her silence had made them both targets anyway. Footsteps echoed at the alley entrance. Sofia spun around, heart hammering, but it was Marcus, medical bag in hand, his dark face creased with concern. Jesus, Sofia. When you said gunshot wound, I thought maybe a graze. He knelt beside them, already pulling out supplies. This is bad. He needs a hospital. Real surgery. No hospitals, Dante said again, though his voice was barely a whisper now. Marcus looked at Sofia, eyebrows raised. She shook her head fractionally. Not here. Not now. Fine, Marcus muttered. But we need to move him somewhere clean. Somewhere I can work. This alley is a sepsis nightmare waiting to happen. My place, Dante said. 20 minutes. East side. You can't be serious. Sofia stood, legs shaking. I can't go to your place. I need to get home. Maya's waiting. Mrs. Chen can only stay until midnight. Sofia. Dante's eyes locked onto hers, suddenly sharp despite the blood loss. Sal's people are watching your apartment. If you go home now, you lead them straight to your sister. And the second they confirm you helped me tonight, they'll take her. Use her to keep you quiet. The words hit like a physical blow. No, they wouldn't. They would. They will. Dante struggled to sit up, and Marcus pushed him back down. Your only chance is to come with me. Let me protect both of you while I still can. While you still can? Sofia's voice rose. You're half dead in an alley. How exactly are you going to protect anyone? Because even half dead, I have more resources than you can imagine. His jaw set. My men are already moving. In 5 minutes, Maya will be picked up from your apartment safely, quietly. Mrs. Chen won't even know it happened. She'll be brought to my estate where 24-hour security can keep her safe. Sofia's vision blurred with fury and fear. You're kidnapping my sister? I'm saving her life. Dante's hand found hers again, blood slick and desperate. Please, I know you have no reason to trust me. I know I'm asking for everything, but if you want Maya to see tomorrow, you need to let me help you. Marcus looked between them, clearly trying to piece together what was happening. Sofia, I don't know what this is about, but this man needs treatment now. He's going into shock. We need to decide. Sofia's phone buzzed. Unknown number. Her hands trembled as she answered. Miss Reyes. The voice was smooth, cultured, terrifying in its politeness. My name is Sal Castellano. I believe we have a mutual problem. Her blood turned to ice. I saw you tonight in that alley. Saw you helping Dante Moretti. Now I'm a reasonable man, so I'm going to give you a choice. Sal's voice dropped. Come work for me. Tell me everything he says. Help me finish what I started tonight. Do that, and your little sister stays safe. Refuse, and well, 8-year-old girls are so fragile, aren't they? The phone slipped from Sofia's numb fingers. Dante caught it, held it to his ear despite his weakening state. Sal, still alive. Surprising, isn't it? A pause. Then laughter, cold and cruel. Not for long, Dante. And, when you're gone, the Reyes girls will be right behind you. The call ended. Dante dropped the phone, his eyes finding Sofia's. In them, she saw her own fear reflected back, but also something else. Determination, fury, protection. Help me up, he said to Marcus. We're leaving. Now. You can't walk, Marcus protested. You've lost too much blood. Then I'll crawl, but we're not staying here. Dante's gaze never left Sofia. He knows where we are. He's probably sending men right now. Sofia, I need your answer. Come with me. Let me protect you and Maya, or take your chances alone against a man who just threatened to kill a child. Sofia thought about Maya. Sweet, brilliant Maya who wanted to be an astronaut and still slept with a nightlight. Maya who'd already lost both parents and depended on Sofia for everything. Maya who would be terrified if strange men came to take her in the night. She thought about the life she'd built through sheer determination and endless work. The carefully constructed walls of normalcy she'd maintained despite poverty and grief and exhaustion. All of it crumbling in a single night because she'd chosen to help a bleeding man in an alley. But what choice did she really have? Sal Castellano had made it clear, cooperate or die, and she would never, could never, work for the man who'd threatened her sister, which left only one option. The most dangerous option: trust the Mafia boss who'd been hunting her for 6 months. "Okay," Sofia whispered. "Okay, we'll come with you." Something in Dante's expression eased. Relief, maybe. Or satisfaction. "You won't regret this." "I already regret this." Sofia helped Marcus lift Dante to his feet. He hissed in pain but stayed conscious through sheer will. But it's better than the alternative. As they half-carried, half-dragged Dante toward Marcus's car parked at the alley entrance, Sofia cast one last look at the street she'd walked down every day for the past 5 months. Her normal life. Her safe life. It was gone now, burned away in blood and bullets and impossible choices. She was entering Dante Moretti's world, a world of danger and violence and secrets. A world where men like Sal Castellano threatened children, and men like Dante commanded empires from the shadows. And somewhere in that world, her little sister was being taken to a place Sofia had never seen, surrounded by people she'd never met, protected by a man she'd just agreed to trust despite every instinct screaming that this was insane. Sofia slid into Marcus's back seat beside Dante, keeping pressure on his wound as Marcus drove. The city lights blurred past the windows, each one taking her further from the life she knew, and deeper into a darkness she'd spent 6 months trying to avoid. Dante's hand found hers in the darkness, blood sticky and surprisingly warm. "Thank you," he murmured. "For stopping, for helping, for trusting me." "I don't trust you," Sofia said flatly. "But I trust you more than Sal Castellano, and I'll do whatever it takes to keep Maya safe." "Good." Dante's thumb traced her knuckles, a gesture that felt almost tender despite the violence of the night. "Because keeping you both safe is all that matters now. Everything else, my trial, my reputation, my war with Sal, none of it means anything if you're not alive to testify. Is that all I am to you?" Sofia heard the bitterness in her own voice. "A witness you need to stay alive?" Dante was quiet for so long she thought he'd lost consciousness. Then, just as the car turned onto the FDR drive heading toward whatever estate awaited them, he spoke. "Ask me that again in a week," he said softly. "After you've seen what I'll do to protect you. After you've watched me burn my own empire down if it means keeping you and Maya safe. Ask me then if you're just a witness." His eyes closed, and his grip on her hand loosened as consciousness finally left him. Sofia stared at his face, handsome even in pain, dangerous even in vulnerability. This man who'd hunted her, this man who'd saved her, this man who'd just become her entire world in the space of a single hour. Marcus caught her eyes in the rearview mirror. "Sofia, what the hell did you just get us into?" She didn't have an answer. She just held Dante's hand tighter and watched the city disappear behind them, carrying her toward a future she couldn't predict and a danger she couldn't escape. But one thing was certain. The moment she'd stepped into that alley and knelt beside a bleeding stranger, her life had changed forever, and there was no going back. The Moretti estate rose from the darkness like something out of a dream or a nightmare, depending on your perspective. Sofia pressed her face against the car window as Marcus drove through iron gates that swung open automatically, revealing a tree-lined driveway that seemed to go on forever. The main house was a sprawling Mediterranean-style villa, all white stone and arched. Windows, with security lights illuminating manicured gardens and fountains. It looked like something from a movie, the kind of place Sofia had only seen in magazines left behind in hospital waiting rooms. "This is where he lives?" she whispered. Marcus let out a low whistle. Apparently crime does pay. 3 SUVs were already parked in the circular driveway. As Marcus pulled up, men in dark suits emerged from the vehicles and the house, at least a dozen of them, all with the same alert, dangerous energy. They moved with military precision, surrounding the car before Marcus had even fully stopped. The back door opened. A man with silver-streaked dark hair and cold gray eyes looked in at Dante's unconscious form, his jaw tightening. "Get him inside. Dr. Russo is already set up in the medical suite." His gaze shifted to Sofia, assessing her in a single sweep. "You're the nurse." "Sofia Reyes," she said, lifting her chin despite her fear. "And I need to see my sister. Now." Something flickered in the man's eyes. Respect, maybe. "She's inside. Safe. Asking for you every 5 minutes." He stepped back, gesturing for her to exit. "I'm Giovanni Moretti, Dante's uncle. You have my word no one will hurt you or your sister while you're under this roof. Sofia wanted to believe him. But she'd learned the hard way that promises from dangerous men were written in water. 4 men carefully extracted Dante from the car, lifting him onto a stretcher that had appeared from nowhere. Sofia watched as they carried him into the house, his face pale against the white sheets, blood still seeping through the makeshift bandaging. He'll survive, Giovanni said, following her gaze. Dante's too stubborn to die from a bullet. This isn't his first time. The casual way he said it sent a chill through Sofia. How many times had Dante been shot? How many times had he survived things that should have killed him? Marcus grabbed his medical bag. I should stay. Help with the surgery. We have our own doctors, Giovanni said, not unkindly. But your assistance getting him here alive is noted. You'll be compensated for your discretion. I don't want money. Marcus looked at Sofia. I want to know she's safe. She's under Moretti protection now. That's safer than Fort Knox. Giovanni pulled out a business card and handed it to Marcus. But if you're concerned, call this number anytime. Someone will give you an update on both women. Marcus hesitated, then pulled Sofia into a quick hug. You sure about this? No. She wasn't sure about anything, but she nodded anyway. Take care of yourself. Tell the hospital I had a family emergency. Already planning on it. Marcus squeezed her shoulder once, then got back in his car. Sofia watched him drive away, her last connection to her normal life disappearing down that long driveway. Come, Giovanni said gently. Your sister is waiting. Inside, the house was even more impressive. Marble floors, soaring ceilings, artwork that probably cost more than Sofia would earn in a lifetime. But she barely registered any of it. Her entire focus was on finding Maya. Giovanni led her through a series of hallways to a sitting room decorated in soft blues and creams. And there, curled up on a velvet sofa with a woman in her 50s, was Maya, Sofia. Her sister's face crumpled with relief. She launched herself off the sofa and ran straight into Sofia's arms. Sofia caught her, holding on tight, breathing in the familiar scent of Maya's strawberry shampoo. I'm here, baby. I'm here. Are you okay? Did anyone hurt you? No. Maya's voice was muffled against Sofia's shoulder. But I was scared. These people came and said you sent them. They were nice, but I didn't know them. And Mrs. Chen didn't wake up, and she's fine, the woman from the sofa said, standing. She had kind eyes and an elegant bearing. We gave Mrs. Chen a mild sedative. She'll wake in the morning thinking Maya had a sleepover at a friend's house. She won't remember anything unusual. Sofia should have been horrified by how easily they'd drugged an innocent elderly woman. But right now, she was just grateful Maya was safe. I'm Isabella, the woman continued. Giovanni's wife. I've been keeping Maya company. She's been very brave. Maya pulled back to look at Sofia, her dark eyes so much like their mother's swimming with unshed tears. What's happening? Why are we here? Those men said it was for protection. But protection from what? 8 years old. Too young to understand the danger they were in. Too young to know that the world could be cruel and violent and unforgiving. Sofia smoothed Maya's hair back, forcing her voice to stay calm. Remember how I told you there are bad people in the world? People who don't follow the rules? Maya nodded slowly. Well, I accidentally saw some of those people doing something bad, and now they're mad at me for knowing their secret. So these people, Sofia, gestured around the room, are keeping us safe until the bad people can't hurt us anymore. It was the simplest version of the truth she could manage. Maya's forehead wrinkled as she processed this. Like witness protection? Like in the movies? Something like that. And the man who owns this house, is he a good guy or a bad guy? Sofia's throat tightened. That's complicated, sweetie. Adults always say that when they don't know the answer. But Maya seemed to accept it. She looked around the beautiful room. Can we really stay here? It's like a palace. For now. Sofia pulled her close again. But you have to promise me something, Maya. You have to stay close to me or to the people I tell you are safe. No wandering off. No talking to strangers. And if anything feels wrong, you come find me immediately, okay? Maya's eyes went wide and serious. Okay, I promise. Isabella stepped forward, her smile warm. Maya, sweetheart, why don't we show your sister where you'll be sleeping? I had the staff prepare the blue suite. It has 2 bedrooms connected by a sitting room, and there's a library downstairs with books about space, if you're interested. Maya's face lit up. Really? What kind of space books? All kinds. Astronomy, astronauts, planetary science. Isabella held out her hand. Come on, I'll show you. As they walked through more elegant hallways, Maya chattered with Isabella about constellations and moon phases. The normalcy of it, a child excited about books, felt surreal against the backdrop of gunfire and threats and blood-soaked alleys. The blue suite was actually 3 rooms, 2 bedrooms, flanking a comfortable sitting area with a TV, bookshelves, and plush furniture. Maya's designated bedroom had been hastily converted for a child, complete with stuffed animals, art supplies, and that promised collection of space books stacked on the nightstand. "Someone did all this in 20 minutes?" Sofia asked, stunned. "We keep guests. Rooms ready for various situations," Giovanni said from the doorway. Isabella just added the child-specific touches. "We have nieces and nephews who visit." The casual mention of family visits felt odd. These people, criminals, killers, whatever they were, had families, had children who played in these halls. Maya was already exploring, picking up books, examining the telescope positioned by the window. "Sofia, look, a real telescope." "I see it, baby." Sofia turned to Isabella and Giovanni. "Thank you for all of this. I know we're not guests, exactly, but you're family now," Isabella interrupted gently. "Anyone under Dante's protection is family. That's how we survive in this world, by taking care of our own." Sofia didn't know how to respond to that. She wasn't family. She was a complication, a witness who'd accidentally become a liability. Giovanni's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, his expression tightening. "The surgery is starting. Isabella, can you stay with them?" "Of course." Isabella squeezed Sofia's hand. "Try to rest. I know that's probably impossible, but try anyway. Tomorrow will be challenging enough without exhaustion." After Giovanni left, Isabella helped Maya change into borrowed pajamas, expensive silk that made Maya giggle because they were so soft. Sofia tucked her sister into the massive 4-poster bed, pulling the covers up to her chin the way she'd done every night for the past 2 years. "Will you stay until I fall asleep?" Maya asked, her voice small. "Always." Sofia smoothed her hair back. "I'll be right here. And when you wake up, I'll still be here. I promise." Maya's eyes drifted closed. Within minutes, her breathing evened out into sleep. Children were resilient like that, able to find rest even in strange places, trusting that the adults would handle whatever came next. Sofia envied that trust. Her own mind was racing, cycling through everything that had happened in the past few hours. Finding Dante. Learning. He'd been hunting her. Sal's threat. The decision to come here. Every choice she'd made tonight could have been the wrong one, and she wouldn't know until it was too late. "She's beautiful," Isabella said softly from the doorway. "You've done well with her. I'm just trying not to screw her up too badly." Sofia stood, bones aching with exhaustion. "How long have you been in this life?" 23 years. Since I married Giovanni." Isabella moved into the sitting room, gesturing for Sofia to follow. She poured 2 glasses of wine from a bottle that had been left on a side table. "I was a school teacher. Normal, boring life. Then I met Giovanni at my sister's wedding, and 6 months later, I married into the Moretti family." Sofia accepted the wine, taking a long sip. It was better than any wine she'd ever tasted, smooth and rich. "Of course it was. Do you regret it?" "Some days." Isabella's smile was wistful. "The days when I remember how simple life used to be. But most days, no. This family gave me purpose, protection, love. Yes, it's dangerous. Yes, there are things I wish I didn't know. But I've never doubted that Giovanni would burn the world down to keep me safe. That kind of devotion is rare." Dante said something similar. "About burning down his empire for me and Maya." Sofia stared into her wine glass. "But we barely know each other. Why would he do that?" "Because you're the key to his freedom." Isabella settled into an armchair. "The FBI has evidence against him that we all know was planted. 3 murders in rival territory, all pointing back to Dante. His trial starts in 6 weeks. If he's convicted, he'll spend the rest of his life in prison. But you can testify that Sal Castellano was there that night, that Dante was being held captive, not orchestrating crimes." Sofia's stomach churned. "So I am just a witness to him, a means to an end." "Maybe that's how it started." Isabella's eyes were knowing. "But Dante doesn't risk everything for mere witnesses. He has lawyers, money, connections. There are other ways he could have handled this. But instead, he's been searching for you for 6 months, personally. Do you know how unusual that is? Dante delegates everything, but finding you that he did himself, because I'm too important to trust to anyone else." Or because you're too important to him personally? Isabella took a sip of her wine. I saw the way he looked at you when they brought him in. I've known Dante since he was 12 years old. I've never seen him look at anyone like that. Sofia's heart did something complicated in her chest. He was half dead. He was looking for help. He was looking at you like you were air and he was drowning. Isabella set down her glass. But I'm not trying to convince you of anything. You'll figure it out on your own. I'm just saying in this family, we recognize when someone becomes important. And you, Sofia Reyes, have become very important very quickly. A soft knock interrupted them. A young woman in business attire poked her head in. Mrs. Moretti? Mr. Giovanni asked me to update Miss Reyes. The surgery was successful. The bullet was removed. No major organ damage. Mr. Dante is in recovery now. Dr. Russo expects a full recovery within 3 to 4 weeks. The relief that washed over Sofia was almost overwhelming. She hadn't realized how much tension she'd been carrying until it released all at once. Thank you, Maria, Isabella said. The woman nodded and disappeared. You should rest, Isabella suggested. Your room is right through that door. There are clothes in the closet, various sizes. Help yourself to anything you need. Sofia wanted to argue that she couldn't possibly sleep, but her body was already making the decision for her, exhaustion pulling at every muscle. What happens tomorrow? She asked. Tomorrow you and Dante talk. You make a plan. You figure out how to survive what's coming. Isabella stood, moving, toward the door. But tonight, you let yourself feel safe, even if it's just for a few hours. After Isabella left, Sofia checked on Maya one more time, still sleeping peacefully before retreating to her own room. It was decorated in soft creams and golds, with a bathroom that was bigger than her entire apartment had been. She found pajamas in the closet, soft cotton that actually fit, and showered off the blood and fear and grime of the night. Under the hot water, the reality of everything finally hit her. She sank down to the tile floor and let herself cry for the life she'd lost, for the danger she'd put Maya in, for the impossible situation she'd landed in through nothing but bad luck and a kind heart. When the tears finally stopped, she dried off, dressed, and climbed into the massive bed. Despite everything, despite her racing mind and pounding heart, sleep came quickly. She dreamed of dark eyes and bloody hands and a voice saying, "Ask me that again in a week, Sofia." Awoke to sunlight streaming through gauzy curtains and the sound of Maya's laughter. For a disoriented moment, she thought the previous night had been a nightmare. Then she saw the unfamiliar room, the expensive furnishings, and reality crashed back. She found Maya in the sitting room, already dressed in new clothes that fit perfectly, eating breakfast at a small table. Isabella sat with her, the two of them discussing astronomy like old friends. "Sofia!" Maya jumped up. "Look, they have chocolate chip pancakes and fresh strawberries. And Isabella says maybe later I can use the telescope during the day to look at the sun safely." The normalcy of it, breakfast, books, a child's excitement felt like a gift Sofia didn't deserve. "Good morning," Isabella greeted her warmly. "There's coffee. And breakfast if you're hungry." Sofia poured herself coffee from a silver carafe, noting it was perfect, exactly how she liked it. Someone had been paying very close attention to her habits. She was picking at a croissant when Giovanni appeared in the doorway. "Miss Reyes, Dante is awake. He's asking for you." Sofia's appetite disappeared. "Now?" "When you're ready." But he's insistent. Giovanni's expression was unreadable. "He wants to talk before the lawyers arrive this afternoon." Sofia looked at Maya, who was happily demolishing her pancakes. The thought of leaving her, even for a few minutes, made Sofia's chest tight. "I'll stay with her," Isabella promised, reading Sofia's hesitation. "We have a morning of astronomy planned. She'll be safe." "Can I, Sofia?" Maya asked, syrup on her chin. "Please? Isabella knows so much about stars. How could she deny her sister this small happiness? After everything Maya had been through, a morning of normalcy seemed like the least Sofia could give her. "Okay, but you stay with Isabella. Don't leave this room without her." "I promise." Maya turned back to Isabella. "Did you know that Jupiter has 79 moons?" Sofia followed Giovanni through the mansion, her stomach churning with each step. She wasn't ready for this conversation. Wasn't ready to face Dante now that he was conscious and aware. Last night, he'd been vulnerable, dying. Today, he'd be the dangerous man who commanded an empire. They stopped outside a door on the second floor. Giovanni knocked once, then opened it. The room was clearly a bedroom converted into a medical suite. Equipment beeped softly. IV stands held bags of fluid, and in the center of it all, propped up against pillows in a massive bed, was Dante. He looked better than he had any right to look. Pale, yes, with dark circles under his eyes, but alert. Those intense brown eyes tracked her movement as she entered, and Sofia felt the weight of his attention like a physical thing. "Leave us," Dante said to Giovanni without looking away from Sofia. "Boss," the doctor said. "I said leave us." Giovanni sighed but obeyed, closing the door behind him. Silence filled the room. Sofia stood near the door, suddenly uncertain. What did you say to a man you'd saved? A man who'd been hunting you? A man who'd effectively kidnapped you and your sister, even if it was for your own protection? "Come here," Dante said quietly. "I won't bite. You're a mafia boss who's been stalking me for 6 months. Forgive me if I don't trust that." His lips twitched. "Fair." He shifted carefully, wincing at the movement. "Thank you. For last night. For not leaving me in that alley. I'm a nurse. It's what I do. Most nurses call ambulances. They don't risk their lives by staying with dangerous criminals." His gaze was steady, assessing. "You knew who I was. You knew helping me would make you a target. But you stayed anyway." Sofia crossed her arms. "And now Maya and I are prisoners in your house." "Guests." "Prisoners," she insisted. "Don't pretty it up. We can't leave. We're here because you need me to testify, and Sal Castellano wants me dead. That's not a guest situation." Dante was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded. "You're right. I'm sorry. You didn't ask for any of this." The apology caught her off guard. She'd expected arrogance, demands, maybe threats, not genuine remorse. "I saw something I shouldn't have," Sofia said, moving closer despite herself. "I ran because I was scared, because I have a little sister to protect and no one to help me if something went wrong. You can't fault me for that. I don't fault you for anything." Dante's hand moved to the bandage on his side. "If our positions were reversed, I would have done the same. But Sofia and I need you to really hear this. Sal Castellano will not stop. He can't afford to. You saw him frame me for murder. You can identify him, his men, the location. Your testimony destroys everything he's built. So he'll kill me to silence me." The words came out flat, matter of fact. "And your sister, to make sure there's no motivation for revenge." Dante's expression was grim. I know that sounds paranoid. I know you want to believe there's some line he won't cross. But I've known Sal for 20 years. There is no line. There's only winning and losing. And right now, you're the thing standing between him and winning." Sofia sank into a chair beside the bed, legs suddenly weak. "What do I do?" "You stay here. Let me protect you. Let my lawyers prepare your testimony. Let my men keep watch over Maya." He paused. "And you trust me. I know that's asking a lot. But I swear to you, on my family's name, on my own life, I will not let Sal hurt you or your sister." "Why?" Sofia's voice cracked. "Why does it matter so much to you? Is it really just about clearing your name?" Dante reached out, his hand hovering near hers on the chair arm. Not touching, but close enough that she could feel the warmth of his skin. 6 months ago, I was dragged into that building by Sal's men. They beat me, questioned me, tried to break me, and then they staged evidence to make it look like I'd committed murders I had nothing to do with. His voice was low, controlled, but she heard the fury underneath. "But in the middle of all that, I looked up and saw you. Just for a second. A woman in the doorway, terrified. But you didn't run immediately. You stood there, taking it in, making sure of what you were seeing," Sofia remembered. Those 3 eternal seconds before survival instinct kicked in. "Most people would have run instantly," Dante continued. "But you made sure. You witnessed. And in that moment, I thought this woman is brave. And then you were gone, and I thought this brave woman is going to get herself killed if I don't find her first." His hand finally closed over hers. "So, I looked for you. Not just because I needed your testimony. Because I couldn't stand the thought of Sal finding you before I did. Couldn't stand the thought of your bravery getting you killed." Sofia's breath caught. "That's not you. Don't even know me. I know you work. 2 jobs to support your sister. I know you moved apartments 5 times in 6 months, always staying in cheap places, even though you must have been terrified. I know you walk to work to save subway fare. I know you give half your tips to the homeless guy who camps outside the bodega." His thumb traced small circles on her hand. "I know you're brave and stubborn, and you put everyone else before yourself. So yeah, Sofia, I know you." The intimacy of his words, the knowledge he'd gathered, should have felt invasive, And it did. But it also felt like being seen in a way she hadn't been since her parents died. "I'm scared," she whispered. "I'm so scared for Maya. She's all I have left." "I know," Dante's grip tightened. "But you're not alone anymore. You have me, my family, my resources. Everything I own, everything I am, it's yours if it keeps you both safe." A knock on the door interrupted them. Giovanni entered, his expression tight. "Boss, we have a problem." Sal's men hit the hospital where Sofia works, questioned staff about her, searched her locker. "They know she helped you." Sofia's blood ran cold. "Double the security," Dante ordered immediately. "Lock down the estate. No one in or out without my explicit approval. And get me every piece of surveillance footage from the hospital. I want to know exactly what they took." Giovanni nodded and left. Dante turned back to Sofia, his expression fierce. "You're not leaving this house until Sal is dealt with. I don't care how long it takes. You and Maya stay here, where I can protect you." "For how long? Weeks? Months?" Sofia's voice rose. "Maya has school. I have work. We have a life. You have a life if you're alive," Dante interrupted. "Everything else can wait. You can't just keep us prisoner. I can and I will." His tone left no room for argument. "Sofia, I watched 3 members of my organization die because they underestimated Sal. I've attended funerals for people who thought they were safe. I will not attend yours. I will not attend Maya's. So yes, you're staying here, under guard, until I can guarantee your safety. Hate me for it if you need to, but you're staying." Sofia wanted to argue, wanted to rage against this man who was making decisions about her life without her consent. But she looked into his eyes and saw something that stopped her cold. Fear. Real, genuine fear. Dante Moretti, the most dangerous man in New York, was afraid for her. "Okay," she said quietly. "We'll stay. But you have to promise me something. Anything. Maya doesn't see the violence. She doesn't see the blood. She gets to be a kid, even in the middle of all this." Sofia held his gaze. "Can you promise me that?" "I promise." Dante's expression softened. "Isabella and I will make sure she's protected from everything. She'll have books, teachers, whatever she needs. She'll be safe and happy. I swear it." Sofia nodded, blinking back tears. This was real now. They were really staying. Here, in this mansion, with this dangerous man and his dangerous family. Everything she'd known, everything she'd built, it was all on hold until Sal Castellano was no longer a threat. "I should get back to Maya," she said, standing. "She'll wonder where I am." "Sofia," Dante caught her hand before she could leave. "Last night, in the car, I told you to ask me again in a week if you were just a witness to me." She remembered. "It hasn't been a week." "No, but I'm going to tell you anyway." He pulled her closer, until she was standing right beside the bed, until she could see gold flecks in his brown eyes. "You stopped being just a witness the moment you knelt in that alley and touched my face. The moment you argued with me about hospitals. The moment you chose to save me instead of running. Dante, I'm not asking you to feel the same way. I'm just telling you the truth, because in this life, tomorrow isn't promised, and I need you to know." His hand came up to cup her cheek, his thumb brushing away a tear she hadn't realized had fallen. "That protecting you isn't obligation. It's everything." Sofia's heart hammered against her ribs. This was insane. She barely knew this man. He was a criminal, dangerous, violent, everything she should run from. But his hand was gentle on her cheek. His eyes held hers with an intensity that felt like a promise. And for the first time in 6 months, since that terrible night, when she'd seen something she shouldn't have, Sofia felt like she wasn't alone. "I need time," she whispered, "to process all of this, to understand what's happening. Take all the time you need." Dante's hand dropped. "I'm not going anywhere, and neither are you." It should have sounded like a threat. Instead, it sounded like a vow. Sofia left the room on shaking legs, her mind reeling. Behind her, she heard Dante call out one more thing. "Sofia, thank you, for giving me a chance to prove I'm worth trusting." She didn't respond. She couldn't, because part of her apart she wasn't ready to acknowledge already trusted him, and that terrified her more than anything Sal Castellano could do. 3 days passed in a strange suspension of reality. Sofia woke each morning in silk sheets, had coffee that cost more per cup than she used to spend on groceries, and watched Maya flourish in ways that made her heart ache with gratitude and guilt in equal measure. Isabella had taken Maya under her wing, like a fairy godmother from a storybook. They spent hours in the library, In the observatory Giovanni had built on the roof, in the art studio where Maya painted galaxies in watercolors. Maya laughed more in 3 days than she had in the past year. She asked questions, explored, felt safe. And Sofia? Sofia existed in a state of constant contradiction. The estate was beautiful, a prison with gardens and marble floors. The staff was kind guards with guns hidden under their jackets. Dante was dangerous, but he looked at her, like she was something precious. She saw him every day. His recovery was remarkable, driven by what his doctor called sheer, stubborn will. And what Sofia suspected was Dante's refusal to show weakness. By day 2, he was sitting up, working from bed, taking calls about business she tried not to think too hard about. By day 3, he was walking the hallways slowly, one hand pressed to his side, but walking nonetheless. And every evening, he came to the blue suite. Not to Sofia's bedroom, he never crossed that boundary, but to the sitting room, where he'd find her reading or working on the online courses she'd been taking, trying to finish the degree she'd abandoned when her parents died. "You're studying social work," he'd said the second night, looking at her textbook. "Even after everything, you still want to help people. Maybe especially after everything." Sofia had closed the book. "Someone helped me once. When my mom died and I didn't know how to pay for the funeral. A social worker helped me navigate the system, get benefits for Maya, find resources. She saved us. I want to be that person for someone else." Dante had looked at her with something that might have been wonder. "You're extraordinary. I'm ordinary. That's the point." "No." He'd sat beside her carefully, mindful of his injury. "Ordinary people don't throw rocks at gunmen. Ordinary people don't save bleeding strangers. Ordinary people don't fight this hard for what matters." These conversations became routine. Maya would fall asleep, and Dante would appear, and they'd talk. About her childhood in the Bronx. About his complicated relationship with a family legacy he'd never asked for. About books and food and the strange suspension of time they existed in. He never touched her. Not since that moment in his recovery room. But Sofia found herself wanting him to. Found herself watching his hands. Wondering what it would feel like to have them on her skin. Found herself leaning closer. During conversations. Drawn by something she couldn't name. It was insane. He was her captor, essentially, even if the cage was gilded. He was dangerous, violent, everything she should fear. But when he looked at her, she felt seen. When he listened, she felt heard. When he promised to keep Maya safe, she believed him. And that belief was the most dangerous thing of all. On the 4th day, everything changed. Sofia was in the kitchen with Maya, teaching her how to make their mother's recipe for arroz con pollo, when Giovanni burst in, his face grim. "Where's Dante?" "Office," Sofia said, immediately on alert. "What's wrong?" Giovanni was already moving. "Stay here. Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone but me or Dante." Fear flooded through Sofia. "Giovanni, what's happening?" But he was gone, shouting orders in Italian to guards who materialized from nowhere. Maya grabbed Sofia's hand. "Sofia? What's wrong?" "I don't know, baby." Sofia pulled her close, her mind racing. "But we're going to do what Giovanni said. We're going to stay here and stay quiet." She locked the kitchen door, then moved them into the walk-in pantry, the most secure space available. Maya trembled against her, and Sofia wrapped both arms around her sister, trying to project a calm she absolutely didn't feel. Outside, she heard running footsteps, shouting, the sound of cars pulling up to the house. Then, clear as day, a voice over some kind of intercom system. "Perimeter breach, east wall, multiple hostiles, all personnel to stations." Maya whimpered. Sofia held her tighter. This was it. Sal had found them. Sal was here. The kitchen door rattled. Someone testing the lock. Sofia's heart hammered so hard she thought it might break through her ribs. She had no weapon, no way to defend Maya if someone broke through. "Sofia," Dante's voice, sharp with urgency. "It's me. Open the door." She hesitated for a fraction of a second. What if it was a trick? But the desperation in his voice convinced her. She left Maya in the pantry, rushed to unlock the door. Dante pushed inside, 2 guards flanking him. He was fully dressed in black tactical gear, a gun holstered at his hip, looking every inch the dangerous man she knew he was. But his eyes softened when they found hers. "Are you hurt?" "No. Maya's in the pantry." "What's happening?" "Sal sent a team. 12 men. They breached the east wall, but we've contained them." His jaw was tight. But this was a test run. He's probing our defenses. The real attack will come soon. Sofia's legs went weak. How soon? Hours. Maybe less. Dante moved to the pantry, crouching down to Maya's level. Hey Maya, remember me? Maya nodded, eyes huge. I need you to be very brave right now. Can you do that? Another nod. Good girl. Dante's voice was gentle despite the chaos outside. My friend Marcus is here, the doctor who helped your sister. He's going to take you to a special room where you'll be very safe. It's like a fort. No one can get in. Isabella will be there too. You'll watch movies and eat snacks and wait until everything is okay. Can you do that? Will Sofia be there? Maya's voice was small. Dante glanced at Sofia. Sofia needs to help me with something important, but she'll come see you as soon as she can. I promise. No. Sofia stepped forward. I'm going with her. I'm not leaving her alone. Sofia. I said no. Her voice was steel. Whatever you need from me, it can wait. Maya needs me. Something flickered across Dante's face. Frustration, maybe. Or respect. The safe room is the most secure location in the house. Reinforced walls, separate air supply, enough food and water for 2 weeks. If Sal's men get through our defenses, that's where you need to be. Then I'll be there, with Maya. Dante studied her for a long moment, then nodded. Okay, both of you. Marcus will take you now. Marcus appeared in the doorway, looking uncomfortable in tactical gear. Sofia, come, Dawn. We need to move. Sofia scooped Maya up even though she was getting too big to carry and followed Marcus through the mansion. Behind them, Dante issued rapid-fire orders in Italian to his men. The safe room was in the basement, hidden behind what looked like a wine cellar. Marcus pressed his hand to a scanner, and a section of wall slid open, revealing a space about the size of Sofia's old apartment. Isabella was already inside with 3 other women Sofia recognized as staff members. Sofia, thank God. Isabella pulled them both into a hug. I have movies queued up for Maya, and I made popcorn in the microwave. It's going to be fine. We're going to be fine. Maya clung to Sofia, but the promise of movies and popcorn normal kid things seemed to calm her slightly. I need to go back up, Marcus said quietly to Sofia. They need every hand. Even doctor hands. Marcus, be careful. Always. He squeezed her shoulder, then left. The wall sealed behind him with a hydraulic hiss. They were locked in, safe, but trapped. Isabella got Maya settled with a movie, something animated and cheerful that felt surreal against the knowledge of what was happening above them. The other women whispered among themselves in Italian, and Sofia paced like a caged animal, unable to sit still, unable to stop thinking about Dante up there, still healing from his last bullet wound, preparing to face Sal's men. He'll be okay, Isabella said softly, reading her thoughts. Dante always survives. It's like his superpower. He's still recovering. He shouldn't even be out of bed, let alone protecting what's his. Isabella's smile was knowing. Sofia, Dante would fight an army on his deathbed if it meant keeping you safe. You must know that by now. Sofia wanted to deny it, but she couldn't. Hours crawled by. The movie ended. Another one started. Maya dozed against Sofia's side, exhausted by fear and adrenaline. The other women played cards, their faces, drawn but calm, clearly used to this kind of situation. Then, around what Sofia guessed was midnight based on her internal clock, the lights flickered. Everyone froze. The lights stabilized, but a new sound filtered through the reinforced walls, muffled pops that Sofia's ER-trained brain recognized immediately. Gunfire. Close. Isabella stood, moving to a panel on the wall. She pressed buttons, and a screen flickered to life, showing security camera feeds from around the estate. What Sofia saw made her stomach drop. The grounds were swarming with men in black tactical gear, dozens of them. Not the 12 Dante had mentioned. They'd broken through the gates and were advancing on the house in organized units. Dante's men were fighting back, taking cover behind vehicles and walls, returning fire, but they were outnumbered. On one screen, Sofia saw Dante himself, moving with deadly precision despite his injury, directing his men, firing with accuracy that spoke of too much practice. Then, she saw something that made her heart stop. A group of Sal's men had split off from the main force. They were heading toward a side entrance, the one near the library, near the wine cellar, near the safe room. Isabella. Sofia's voice came out strangled. They're coming here. Isabella's face went white. She grabbed a radio from the wall. Giovanni, this is Isabella. Hostiles approaching the wine cellar entrance. They know about the safe room. Static. Then Giovanni's voice strained. Copy. Sending reinforcements. Hold position. Do not open that door. The screen showed the men reaching the entrance. They had equipment, some kind of cutting torch. They were going to break through. Maya woke up, sensing the tension. Sofia? What's happening? It's okay, baby. The lie tasted like ash. Everything's okay. But it wasn't okay. Sal's men were cutting through the outer door, and judging by the speed of their progress, they'd be through in minutes. The other women were praying. Now, rapid Italian Sofia couldn't follow. Isabella had moved to stand between the sealed entrance and the rest of them, as if her body alone could hold back what was coming. Sofia looked around desperately for something, anything, she could use as a weapon. Her eyes landed on a fire extinguisher mounted to the wall. Not much, but better than nothing. The sound of cutting intensified, then stopped. Silence, then a massive explosion that shook the entire room. Maya screamed. Sofia pulled her close, covering her ears. The wall behind the wine rack, the one concealing the safe room entrance, buckled. Not breached, but damaged. Smoke seeped through cracks. They're using explosives, Isabella breathed. We need to... The radio crackled. Dante's voice, raw with fury and fear. Isabella, report. Are you intact? We're okay. But they breached the outer door. They're trying to blast through to us. Hold on. I'm coming. A pause. Sofia, if you can hear me, hold on. I'm coming for you. The words wrapped around Sofia's heart like a fist. Another explosion. Closer. Louder. Maya was sobbing now, and Sofia held her so tight she was probably hurting her, but she couldn't let go. The wall cracked, not open, but visibly weakening. One more blast would do it. Sofia made a decision. She handed Maya to Isabella. Keep her safe. No matter what happens, you keep her safe. Sofia, what are you? If they get through, they're here for me. I'm what Sal wants. Sofia grabbed the fire extinguisher, her hands steadier than she felt. Maybe if I surrender, they'll leave the rest of you alone. That's suicide. Isabella's grip on Maya tightened. Dante will never forgive. Dante will survive. He always does. You said so yourself. Sofia moved toward the damaged wall. But Maya won't survive if Sal's men get to her. So I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen. Sofia, no. Maya's scream cut through everything. Don't leave me. I love you, baby, Sofia forced, being herself to look at her sister one more time. I love you so much. Be brave. Be brilliant. Be everything Mom and Dad wanted you to be. Then she pressed the button that would unseal the door. Sofia, stop! Isabella lunged for her, but too late. The door hissed open. Smoke and heat billowed in. And beyond it, framed in the wreckage of the wine cellar, stood 5 of Sal's men. The leader's gun immediately trained on Sofia. Sofia Reyes. How convenient. Boss said you'd be stupid enough to try to save someone. He was right. Sofia raised her hands, still holding the fire extinguisher. Let the others go. I'm what you want. I'm the witness. The rest of them don't matter. The man smiled. Cold. Cruel. Boss wants you alive. Didn't say anything about unharmed, though. He stepped forward and a gunshot cracked through the air. The man dropped, a red bloom spreading across his chest. Dante appeared from the smoke like an avenging angel, gun raised, fury carved into every line of his face. Behind him, Marcus and Giovanni materialized with more armed men. What followed was brutal and quick. Dante's men moved with lethal efficiency, taking down Sal's team with precision that spoke of years of training. It was over in seconds, bodies dropping, the threat neutralized, but Sofia couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't process what she'd just almost done. Dante crossed the space between them in 3 strides. His hands framed her face, tilting it up, his eyes wild as they searched hers. What were you thinking? His voice shook. You were going to surrender to them? Let them take you? They were going to break through. They were going to get to Maya. So you were just going to sacrifice yourself? Dante's grip tightened. Do you have any idea what they would have done to you? What Sal would have done? It doesn't matter. Maya would have been safe. It matters to me. The words burst out of him, raw and desperate. You matter to me. You think I can protect. For you if you keep trying to get yourself killed? Behind them, Isabella had moved Maya away. shielding her eyes from the bodies. But Sofia couldn't look away from Dante, from the fear and fury and something else burning in his eyes. "I couldn't let them hurt her," Sofia whispered. "She's all I have. You have me." Dante's forehead pressed against hers. "You have me, Sofia, and I will burn this entire city down before I let Sal Castellano take you from me." Something broke open in Sofia's chest. The wall she'd been maintaining, the distance she'd been keeping, it crumbled under the weight of his words, his touch, the undeniable truth that this man would die for her. And she realized, with terrible clarity, that she'd die for him too. "Dante," he kissed her. It wasn't gentle. It was desperate and claiming and full of all the fear and fury of the night. His hands tangled in her hair, pulling her closer, and Sofia melted into him, fire extinguisher forgotten, everything forgotten, except the taste of him and the feeling of being alive, being wanted, being his. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Dante rested his forehead against hers again. "No more heroics," he murmured. "No more sacrifices. You stay alive. You stay with me. Promise me." "I promise." The words came easily, naturally. "But you have to promise me something too. Anything. End this, tonight. Whatever it takes, end Sal Castellano so Maya and I can stop living in fear." Dante's eyes went dark. Not with anger, but with purpose. "Consider it done." Sofia stayed in the safe room with Maya and Isabella, while Dante, Giovanni, and what seemed like an army of men mobilized. Through the security feeds, she watched them transform from defensive positions to an offensive strike. "What are they doing?" she asked Isabella. "What they should have done months ago." Isabella's expression was grim. "They're going to end this war." Sofia wanted to feel horrified, wanted to protest the violence, the inevitable deaths. But when she looked at Maya, curled up asleep finally, exhausted from terror, she felt nothing but cold determination. Sal Castellano had threatened her sister, had sent men to kill them, had made Maya cry. Whatever Dante did to him, Sofia wouldn't lose sleep over it. 2 hours later, Dante returned. He was bloodied, she couldn't tell if it was his or someone else's, and exhausted, but alive. "Whole. It's done," he said simply. "Sal is dead. His organization is scattered. The men who came here tonight were his last real force. It's over." Sofia stood on shaking legs. "Over?" "Over." Dante crossed to her, cupping her face in his blood-stained hands. "You're safe. Maya's safe. No one is hunting you anymore." The relief was so overwhelming, Sofia's knees buckled. Dante caught her, holding her up, and she buried her face in his chest and finally let herself fall apart. She cried for the fear she'd been carrying for 6 months, for the life she'd lost, for the innocence Maya had lost, for everything that had led to this moment. And Dante held her through all of it, murmuring Italian words she didn't understand but felt in her bones. Promises, vows, things that sounded like forever. When the tears finally stopped, Sofia pulled back to look at him. "What happens now?" "Now?" Dante's thumb brushed away her remaining tears. "Now you testify. Clear my name. The trial will be a formality with Sal dead and his organization in ruins. The FBI's case falls apart. And after that? After that, you and Maya decide what you want. You can leave, go back to your old life. I'll make sure you're protected, that you have everything you need." His voice was carefully neutral. "Or you can stay." Sofia's heart hammered. "Stay here? With you? If you want." His hands dropped from her face, giving her space. "I know this life isn't what you would have chosen. I know I'm not what you would have chosen. But Sofia, these past few days with you here, watching you with Maya, talking to you every night, I haven't felt this alive since before my wife died. You make me remember why I built all this, what it's supposed to protect." He took a breath. "I'm in love with you. I know it's fast. I know it's insane. But I've spent 6 months thinking about you, searching for you, imagining what it would be like when I finally found you. And the reality is so much better than anything I imagined." Sofia's breath caught. "Dante, you don't have to answer now. Take your time. Think about what you want, what Maya needs." He stepped back, creating more distance. "But know that if you stay, I will spend every day proving I'm worth the risk. I will give you and Maya everything. Safety, stability, love, a family. Sofia looked through the doorway to where Maya slept, peaceful finally. Then back at Dante, this dangerous, complicated, extraordinary man who'd turned her world upside down. She thought about going back to her old life. 2 jobs, Endless exhaustion, constant fear about money and Maya's future. It had been survival, not living. Here, Maya had books and telescopes and laughter. Here, Sofia had someone who saw her, really saw her, and chose her anyway. Here, despite the danger and the violence and the impossibility of it all, she felt something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. I need to talk to Maya, she said finally. This affects her too. If she wants to go back to our old life, then that's what we'll do. Dante nodded. Of course. But Dante? Sofia stepped closer, closing the distance he'd created. I'm in love with you too. And that terrifies me. Because loving you means accepting this world, this life. And I don't know if I'm strong enough for that. His hands came up to frame her face again. You're the strongest person I've ever met. You'll be fine. We'll be fine. He pressed a soft kiss to her forehead. Whatever you decide, I'll respect it, but I'm going to hope. Like hell you stay. The next morning, Sofia sat Maya down in the garden, the same garden where she and Dante had talked every night. Maya, I need to ask you something important. Maya looked up from the flowers she'd been examining. Okay. How do you feel about staying here? Not just for a few more days, but longer. Maybe forever. Maya's eyes went wide. Forever? Like, live here? If you wanted to. Mister. Dante, he's asked us to stay. To become part of his family. Sofia took her sister's hand. But only if you want to. If you'd rather go back to our apartment, back to your old school, we can do that. I'll make it work. It's your choice. Maya was quiet for a long moment, her young face serious as she considered. Will I still get to use the telescope? Despite everything, Sofia laughed. Yes, every night if you want. And Isabella will still teach me about stars? I think she'd be sad if she couldn't. And you'll be happy here? With Mr. Dante? Maya's dark eyes were too knowing for 8 years old. I've seen how you look at him, like how Mommy used to look at Daddy. Sofia's throat tightened. Yeah, baby. I think I could be happy here. Maya nodded decisively. Then we should stay. I like it here. I feel safe. And you smile more. She threw her arms around Sofia's neck. Plus the pancakes are really good. Sofia laughed through tears, holding her sister close. So we're really doing this? We're staying? We're staying, Maya confirmed. Then she pulled back, suddenly worried. But Sofia, are you sure Mr. Dante is a good guy? Because you said it was complicated. Sofia thought about how to answer that. Dante wasn't a good guy in the traditional sense. He ran a criminal empire. He'd killed people. He would kill again to protect what was his. But he'd also saved them, protected Maya. Looked at Sofia like she was the most important thing in his world. Promised them a family. He's a good man who does bad things sometimes. Sofia said finally. But he does those bad things for good reasons. To protect people he loves. To keep his family safe. Does that make sense? Maya nodded slowly. Like how you lied to your boss about being sick so you could take me to the zoo for my birthday. Lying is bad, but you did it for a good reason. Exactly like that. Sofia kissed the top of her head. But on a much bigger scale. Okay. Then I trust him. Because you trust him. Maya squirmed away, already distracted by a butterfly. Can I go tell Isabella we're staying? She's teaching me about constellations today. Go ahead, baby. Maya ran off toward the house, leaving Sofia alone in the garden. She pulled out her phone, the new one Dante's people had given her with all her contacts restored, and saw a text from Marcus. Heard you're staying. Good. You deserve happiness. But if he ever hurts you, you call me. I know people who know people. Sofia smiled. Even in Dante's world, she had friends, allies, people who cared. She said yes. Dante's voice came from behind her. Sofia turned to find him standing near a rose bush, looking uncertain in a way she'd never seen. This powerful, dangerous man, nervous about an 8-year-old's opinion. She said yes. Something about the pancakes. Relief washed over Dante's face, followed by a smile that transformed him. I'll make sure the chef knows pancakes are a daily requirement. He moved closer, but still maintaining that careful distance. And you? Do you have conditions? Things you need from me to make this work? Sofia considered. I want to finish my degree. Online is fine, but I want to finish it. Done. I'll hire tutors if you need them. And I want Maya in a normal school. Not some private academy where she'll never meet regular kids. She needs to know both worlds. I'll find the best public school in the city. She'll have security but discreet. And I want honesty. About your business, about the dangers, about everything. No. Surprises. Sofia stepped closer. I'm choosing this life with open eyes. But I need you to trust me with the truth. Dante's expression grew serious. That's a heavy burden. Some of what I do, Sofia, once you know, you can't unknow it. I understand, but I'd rather carry that weight with you than wonder what you're hiding from me. He studied her face for a long moment, then nodded. Complete honesty. I promise. One more thing. Sofia closed the last bit of distance between them. When you introduce me to your family, to your associates, I'm not your kept woman or your protected witness. I'm your partner, equal. Or this doesn't work. Dante's hands found her waist, pulling her against him. Partner implies we're building something together. Is that what you want? Yes. The word came out steady. Sure. I want to build something with you. I want Maya to have a family. I want to wake up next to you and argue about stupid things and make pancakes on Sundays. I want normal, even if our version of normal includes armed guards and security systems. I can give you that. Dante's forehead pressed against hers. I can give you everything, Sofia. Just don't leave. Don't change your mind. I don't think I could survive losing you now. You're not going to lose me. Sofia reached up, cupping his face, feeling the stubble scratch against her palms. I'm exactly where I choose to be. He kissed her, then slow, and deep, and full of promise. And Sofia kissed him back, tasting her future on his lips, feeling the sharp edges of fear smooth into something softer. Hope, home, love. When they finally broke apart, Dante kept his arms around her. I should warn you, my family is going to love you and overwhelm you in equal measure. Sunday dinners are mandatory. Holidays are chaos. Everyone has an opinion about everything. Sofia laughed. Sounds perfect. And the business, Sofia. There will be times when I have to do things you won't like. Times when I'll come home with blood on my hands. I'm an ER nurse. I'm used to blood. She met his eyes. I'm not naive, Dante. I know what you are, what you do. But I also know who you are with Maya. Who you are with me. That's the man I'm choosing. Thank you. The words were simple, but weighted with everything. For seeing me. For choosing me despite everything. Thank you for finding me in that alley. For not giving up on finding me for 6 months. For proving that even in the darkest places, good things can happen. They stood there in the garden, wrapped in each other, as the sun climbed higher and the day stretched out before them full of possibility. Inside the house, Maya's laughter echoed as Isabella taught her about Saturn's rings. In the driveway, guards changed shifts with quiet efficiency, ever watchful. In the city, the news broke about Sal Castellano's death and the dismantling of his organization, a mob war, ending with a whimper rather than a bang. And in the garden, Sofia Reyes and Dante Moretti held each other and imagined a future neither had expected, but both chose with open eyes and full hearts. 3 months later, the courtroom was packed. Press, FBI agents, members of both the Moretti and former Castellano organizations watching to see how this would play out. Sofia sat in the witness box, wearing a simple blue dress Isabella had helped her pick out, her hands folded in her lap to hide their trembling. Miss Reyes, the prosecutor said, his voice gentle. Can you tell us what you saw on the night of April 15th? Sofia took a breath. Across the courtroom, Dante sat at the defense table, looking every inch the respectable businessman in his tailored suit. His eyes found hers, steady and calm. You've got this, they seemed to say. I'm right here. Sofia began to speak. She told them everything. About working her cleaning job at Castellano Industries. About taking the wrong exit from the stairwell. About seeing Sal Castellano and his men, with Dante, bloody and beaten. About the gun. About running. The prosecutor showed her photos. Is this the man you saw that night? Yes. Sal Castellano. Sofia's voice stayed steady. He was the one holding the gun. And Mr. Moretti, what was his condition? He was restrained, clearly injured, not there voluntarily. Did Mr. Moretti appear to be giving orders or participating in any criminal activity? No. He appeared to be a victim. The testimony lasted 2 hours. Sofia answered every question, never wavering, never doubting, because it was the truth, and the truth was all she had to offer. When it was over, when the defense rested and the jury was dismissed to deliberate, Dante's lawyer shook Sofia's hand. That was remarkable, he said. You might have just saved his life. Sofia found Dante outside the courtroom, surrounded by his family. Giovanni clapped him on the shoulder. Isabella hugged him tight. And when he saw Sofia, his face lit up with something that looked like joy. "Come here," he said, pulling her into his arms right there in the courthouse hallway, not caring who saw. "You were perfect. I just told the truth. You were brave. You looked them all in the eye and told the truth, even though you knew it would paint a target on your back forever." He pulled back to look at her. "I'm so proud of you." The jury took less than 3 hours to reach a verdict. Not guilty on all counts. The charges against Dante Moretti were dismissed due to coerced evidence and prosecutorial misconduct. The investigation into Sal Castellano's crimes would continue posthumously, but Dante was free. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed, cameras flashed, questions were shouted. Dante ignored them all. He took Sofia's hand and walked straight to the waiting SUV where Maya sat with Isabella, doing homework. "Did you win?" Maya asked as they climbed in. "We won," Dante confirmed, ruffling her hair. "Your sister was a superhero today." "She's always a superhero," Maya said matter-of-factly. "That's just what Sofia is." As the SUV pulled away from the courthouse, heading toward the estate that had become their home, Sofia looked at the family she'd found in the most unlikely place. Maya, brilliant and brave, already planning her future as an astronaut. Isabella, who'd become the mother figure Sofia hadn't realized she'd been missing. Giovanni, gruff but kind, already planning to teach Maya Italian. And Dante, complicated and dangerous and hers, who looked at her like she'd hung the moon. "What are you thinking?" Dante asked softly, his arm around her shoulders. "That 6 months ago, if someone had told me I'd find a bleeding mafia boss in an alley, and it would turn into this," Sofia gestured at all of them, "I would have thought they were insane. And now? Now I think sometimes the best things in life come from the worst moments. Sometimes you have to walk through darkness to find light." She turned to look at him. "Sometimes you have to save a stranger to find your family." Dante kissed her temple. "Sometimes a stranger turns out to be everything you've been looking for." That night, after Maya was asleep and the house had settled into quiet, Sofia and Dante stood on the balcony outside their bedroom, the room she'd officially moved into last week, ending any pretense that they were just housemates. "I have something for you," Dante said, pulling a small box from his pocket. Sofia's breath caught. "Dante, it's not what you think. Not yet." He opened the box to reveal a key. "This is the deed to the house. Your name is on it now. Equal ownership. Because you're right, you're not my kept woman or my protected witness. You're my partner. In everything." Sofia took the key, tears blurring her vision. "You didn't have to do this." "Yes, I did. Because I need you to know this is your home. Not because I'm letting you stay here, but because it's yours. Everything I have is yours." He paused. "Well, except the illegal businesses. Those stay in my name. Plausible deniability and all that." Sofia laughed through her tears. "Thank you. For all of it. For seeing me. Choosing me. Giving me and Maya this life. Thank you for not leaving me in that alley to bleed out. Best decision I ever made." "Second best," Dante corrected, pulling her close. "The best decision was saying yes when I asked you to stay." Sofia rose on her toes to kiss him, tasting wine and promises and forever. "Ask me again in a year if I'm just a witness to you." "Ask me in a year," Dante murmured against her lips, "and I'll give you a different answer. One that involves a ring and a priest in making this permanent." "Is that a proposal?" "It's a promise. That when I do propose, you'll already know the answer." Sofia smiled, her heart full to bursting. "Yeah, I already know." Below them, the city glittered with lights. Above them, stars wheeled across the sky, the same stars Maya studied every night, dreaming of distant worlds. And between them, Sofia and Dante held each other and dreamed of the life they were building. A life that started with blood in an alley and transformed into something beautiful. A life that proved love could bloom even in the darkest places. That family could be found in the unlikeliest people. That sometimes, the scariest decisions led to the greatest rewards. Sofia had found a bleeding man in an alley, unaware he'd been hunting for her. And in saving him, she'd saved herself. 6 months after the trial, Sofia stood in the kitchen of the estate. Their estate now, legally hers as much as Dante's, watching Maya frost cupcakes with the intense concentration she brought to everything she did. "They have to be perfect," Maya insisted, tongue poking out between her teeth as she piped blue icing onto chocolate cupcakes. "It's Isabella's birthday. She deserves perfect cupcakes." Sofia smiled, stirring the pot of arroz con pollo that had become her signature dish for family dinners. "Isabella will love them no matter what they look like because you made them." I know. Maya looked up, grinning. But I still want them perfect. The kitchen had become Sofia's sanctuary. In a house full of expensive things, she was still learning not to be afraid of breaking. The kitchen was where she felt most herself. She'd spent the past months learning to cook from the estate's chef, mastering recipes her mother had made, and creating new ones that blended her Puerto Rican heritage with the Italian traditions of Dante's family. Tonight was special, the first birthday celebration since everything had changed. Isabella had insisted on a small family dinner, nothing extravagant, just the people who mattered most. The back door opened and Dante walked in, bringing cold December air and the smell of his cologne. He was dressed more casually than usual, dark jeans and a sweater that made him look younger, less like a crime boss and more like just a man coming home to his family. His eyes found Sofia immediately, the way they always did, and something warm settled in her chest. 6 months, and she still got butterflies when he looked at her like that. Something smells incredible, he said, moving to kiss her cheek before examining Maya's cupcake progress. And these look amazing, Stellina. Maya beamed at the nickname he'd given her little star. I'm making 24. 1 for each year of Isabella's age, plus extras in case Giovanni wants seconds. Smart planning. Dante stole a bit of icing from the bowl, and Maya swatted at his hand, giggling. This was Sofia's favorite thing, watching Dante with Maya, seeing him be gentle and playful and normal. The man who commanded an empire with an iron fist melted into softness around her sister, and it made Sofia love him more every day. How was your day? She asked, adding more seasoning to the rice. Productive. He moved behind her, arms sliding around her, waist, chin resting on her shoulder. The community center project got final approval. Construction starts next month. Sofia leaned back against him, remembering the night 3 months ago when she'd mentioned wanting to give back to the neighborhood she'd grown up in. By the next morning, Dante had his lawyers drawing up plans for a community center offering free after-school programs, job training, and social services. You're going to make me cry if you keep doing nice things, she murmured. Then I'll keep doing them. His lips brushed her temple. Your happiness is the best investment I've ever made. Maya made a gagging sound. You two are so mushy. You'll understand when you're older, Dante said sagely. I'm 9 now. I understand plenty. Maya finished the last cupcake with a flourish. I understand that Sofia makes you smile like a dork, and you make her not work 100 hours a week anymore. That's called love. Miss Patterson taught us about it in social studies. Sofia laughed. Did she now? Yep. She said love is when you care about someone so much you want them to be happy even if it's hard. Maya tilted her head, studying them. Is it hard? Being in love? Dante exchanged a look with Sofia over her head. Sometimes, he admitted. But it's worth it. Like how homework is hard but you learn stuff? Maya considered this. Okay, that makes sense. The doorbell rang, the elaborate chime that still startled Sofia sometimes with its grandness. Moments later, Isabella and Giovanni arrived, bringing wine and laughter, and the kind of warmth that made the massive house feel like a home. Dinner was chaotic in the best way. Giovanni told embarrassing stories about Dante as a child. Isabella gushed over Maya's cupcakes. They argued good-naturedly about everything from politics to the best way to make marinara sauce, and Sofia watched it all, amazed that this was her life now. After dinner, while Maya showed Giovanni her latest telescope observations, and Isabella helped Dante clear the table, Sofia found herself on the terrace, the same one where she and Dante had shared so many late-night conversations in those early days. She pulled her sweater tighter against the cold, looking out at the city lights sparkling in the distance. Somewhere out there was her old apartment building, the hospital where she used to work herself to exhaustion, the life she'd left behind. She didn't miss it. Not the struggle, not the fear, not the constant worry. But sometimes she wondered if that Sofia, the one who'd worked 2 jobs and counted every penny, would recognize who she'd become. Second thoughts? Dante's voice came from behind her. Sofia turned, finding him silhouetted in the doorway. No, just thinking about how much has changed. He moved to stand beside her, their shoulders touching. Regrets? Not a single one. She looked up at him. But sometimes I wonder if I'm doing enough. I have all this now. She gestured. At the estate, and I'm not working, not really contributing. Sofia. Dante turned to face her fully. You finished your degree last month. You're planning a community center that will help hundreds of families. You're raising Maya to be an incredible human being. You testified against Sal and helped dismantle his entire organization. He cupped her face. You contribute more than anyone I know. But I'm not working a real job because you don't have to anymore. That's not laziness, mi amor. That's freedom. His thumb brushed her cheek. You spent years surviving. I'm giving you the chance to live, to figure out what you want to do because you want to, not because you need the money. Sofia's eyes stung with tears. I want to help people. That hasn't changed, but I want to do it on my own terms. Create programs that actually work, that address real needs, then do it. Dante's smile was soft. You have the education now. You have resources. You have my full support. Build whatever you want. Help whoever you want. I'll back you completely. Even if it means working with people your organization usually doesn't work with. Social workers, police, community activists. Even then, he paused. Though I might have opinions about which cops you work with. Some are more trustworthy than others. Sofia laughed despite herself. Fair enough. There's something else, Dante said, his voice shifting to something more serious. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Sofia's breath caught. Dante, I know I said I'd wait a year, but it's been 6 months, and I can't wait anymore. He opened the box to reveal a ring elegant and understated, a sapphire surrounded by small diamonds. I chose sapphire because it reminded me of the scrubs you were wearing that night in the alley. Blue, the same blue that's become my favorite color because it's the color I associate with you. Sofia's hand flew to her mouth, tears spilling over. Sofia Reyes, you saved my life in every way a person can be saved. You gave me purpose again. You reminded me what I was fighting for. You brought light into a house that had been dark for too long. He took her hand. I love you. Maya loves you, actually. Maya just loves being right about us being mushy, but that counts. My family loves you. And I want to spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret the choice you made that night. Yes. The word burst out before he could even ask the question. Yes, of course yes. Dante's face broke into the biggest smile she'd ever seen. He slipped the ring onto her finger, a perfect fit, because of course he'd somehow figured out her size and pulled her into a kiss that tasted like happiness and wine and forever. Behind them, someone started clapping. They broke apart to find Maya, Isabella, and Giovanni watching from the doorway, all three grinning like fools. Finally, Maya shouted. I've been waiting. Forever. Isabella owes me $20 I bet you'd propose before Christmas. You bet on us? Sofia asked, laughing through tears. Everyone bet on you, Giovanni admitted. It was the worst-kept secret in the family. Dante's been carrying that ring around for a month. 2 months, Dante corrected, not looking remotely embarrassed. I wanted to wait for the perfect moment. This is perfect, Sofia said softly, looking at the ring, then at the people surrounding them. All of this is perfect. Maya ran over to examine the ring, chattering excitedly about wedding planning and whether she could be the maid of honor and if they could have a space theme because it would be super cool and also educational. Isabella hugged Sofia tight. Welcome to the family. Officially. I thought I was already part of the family? You were. But now it's permanent. Isabella pulled back, her eyes shining. And I get to help plan a wedding. Giovanni, she's going to need a venue. Already have ideas, Giovanni said, pulling out his phone. I know a place. Can we not plan the entire wedding tonight? Dante interrupted, laughing. I just proposed 5 minutes ago. But Sofia didn't mind the chaos, the immediate launch into planning, the way Maya was already sketching dress designs on a napkin. This was family. Loud, overwhelming, loving family. Later that night, after Isabella and Giovanni had left and Maya was finally asleep, Sofia and Dante lay in bed, her hand resting on his chest so she could see the ring catch the moonlight. I never thought I'd have this, she whispered. A family, security, love. It felt like things that happened to other people. You deserve all of it and more. Dante's fingers traced patterns on her back. I'm just grateful you gave me the chance to give it to you. I'm grateful you didn't die in that alley. Me too. He was quiet for a moment. Sofia, I need to tell you something. About the business. Sofia's stomach tightened. Even now, after everything, there were still parts of Dante's world that scared her. Okay, I've been transitioning things. Moving away from the more problematic operations. Focusing on legitimate businesses. He shifted to look at her. It'll take time, you can't just flip a switch on an empire like this. But I'm doing it. For you, for Maya, for the family we're building. Sofia's eyes filled with tears again. You don't have to change who you are for me. I'm not changing who I am. I'm becoming who I want to be. His hand cupped her face. You make me want to be better, and I have the power to make that happen, so I am. What does Giovanni think about this? He thinks I've gone soft. Dante smiled. He's probably right, but he also sees how happy I am, and that matters to him. He's already helping with the transition. Sofia kissed him, pouring everything she felt into it: gratitude, love, hope, commitment. When they finally broke apart, she rested her, forehead against his. We're really doing this. Getting married, building a life. We're really doing this, he confirmed. Though I should warn you, Italian weddings are big. Like 300 people big. My family will want to invite everyone. Sofia laughed. I don't even know 300 people. You will. They'll adopt you. They'll teach you family recipes and argue about whose pasta is better and tell you embarrassing stories about me. He pulled her closer. They'll love you because I love you. That's how this family works. I can handle that. Sofia snuggled into his warmth. I can handle anything as long as you're with me. Always, Dante promised. From that alley until forever. You're stuck with me now. Best trap I ever walked into. 10. They fell asleep wrapped around each other. The ring on Sofia's finger catching starlight from the window, a promise of everything to come. Outside, the city slept. The guards changed shifts. The estate settled into quiet. And inside, a family rested, built not from blood or obligation, but from choice. From a bleeding man in an alley and the nurse who stopped to help. From danger and fear transformed into safety and love. Sofia had found Dante in darkness, unaware he'd been searching for her. And together, they'd built something neither could have imagined. A home, a family, a future, and it was only just beginning. The wedding took place on a warm Saturday in May, exactly 1 year after Sofia had found Dante bleeding in that alley. The estate gardens had been transformed into something from a fairy tale. White roses, climbing trellises, strings of lights waiting to twinkle as evening fell, chairs arranged in perfect rows facing an arch covered in flowers. Sofia stood in her dressing room, staring at herself in the mirror and barely recognizing the woman looking back. The dress was ivory lace, elegant and simple, chosen after 3 months of Maya and Isabella, dragging her to boutiques across the city. Her dark hair was swept up, small white flowers woven through it. She looked like a bride. She looked happy. Stop crying, you'll ruin your makeup. Isabella scolded gently, dabbing at Sofia's eyes with a tissue. You can cry after the ceremony. I can't help it. This is really happening. Sofia's voice wavered. A year ago, I was cleaning office buildings and eating ramen for dinner. And now you're marrying the man you love, in a garden full of people who adore you, about to become part of a family that will protect you forever. Isabella squeezed her shoulders. You deserve this, Sofia. Every bit of it. Maya burst through the door, a vision in her junior bridesmaid dress, pale blue to match the sapphire in Sofia's engagement ring. The guests are all here. There's so many people. And Sofia, you look like a princess. You look pretty amazing yourself, Stelina. Sofia pulled her sister into a careful hug, mindful of both their dresses. Are you ready for this? Once I marry Dante, we officially become Morettis. Maya's face grew serious. Will I have to change my last name? Only if you want to. You can be Maya Reyes Moretti, or just Maya Reyes, whatever feels right to you. Maya Reyes Moretti sounds cool, like I'm a superhero with 2 identities. Maya grinned. Can I go tell Dante you're almost ready? He keeps asking Giovanni what time it is every 5 minutes. He's nervous. Sofia's heart melted. Tell him I'll be there soon. And Maya, thank you for being so amazing about all of this, for accepting Dante, for being brave when everything changed. Sofia, he makes you smile all the time. And he taught me about constellations, even though he doesn't really care about space, he just cares that I care about space. Maya shrugged with 9-year-old wisdom. That's what family does. Plus, the house has really good Wi-Fi. After Maya left, Isabella helped Sofia into her shoes' comfortable flats because Sofia had insisted she wasn't walking down an aisle in heels. Ready? Sofia took a deep breath, looking one more time at her reflection. The scared woman from that alley was gone. In her place stood someone stronger, someone who'd survived and chosen love despite every reason to run. I'm ready. The music started, not the traditional wedding march, but a Spanish guitar piece Sofia's mother had loved. Giovanni appeared to walk her down the aisle, offering his arm with a gentle smile. "Dante is the luckiest man alive," he murmured as they began walking. "But I think he knows that." Sofia barely heard him. Her eyes had found Dante at the end of the aisle, standing beneath the flower-covered arch in a perfectly tailored black suit, and the look on his face stole her breath. He wasn't hiding behind his usual mask. There was no cool mob boss, no calculated control. Just a man watching the woman he loved walk toward him, tears shining in his eyes, his entire heart visible for anyone to see. The ceremony passed in a blur of Spanish and Italian, traditional vows mixed with personal promises. When it came time for Dante to speak, his voice was rough with emotion. "Sofia, you appeared in my life when I'd forgotten what it meant to really live. You were brave when you should have run. You chose love when fear would have been easier. You gave me back my humanity." He slipped the ring onto her finger. "I promise to spend every day proving I'm worthy of that gift. I promise to protect you, cherish you, and make sure you never regret the moment you stopped in that alley." Sofia's own vows came through tears. "Dante, you gave me and Maya a home when we were lost. You saw strength in me when I only saw survival. You loved me with a fierceness that scared me and saved me at the same time." She placed his ring on his finger, her hands shaking. "I promise to stand beside you through everything, to be your partner, your conscience, and your love. To build a family with you that honors both where we came from and where we're going." When the officiant finally said, "You may kiss your bride," Dante pulled Sofia close and kissed her like they were the only two people in the world. The crowd erupted in applause and whistles, but Sofia barely heard them over the sound of her own heartbeat. She was married. To Dante Moretti. The man who'd been hunting for her, the man she'd saved, the man who'd become her everything. The reception was exactly what Dante had warned her about: loud, chaotic, full of more Morettis and associated families than Sofia could count. There was dancing and laughter and food that kept appearing in endless waves. Maya danced with everyone, her dress twirling as various cousins and uncles spun her around. Isabella cried happy tears into Giovanni's shoulder. And Dante never let go of Sofia's hand, keeping her close like she might disappear if he looked away. During the father-daughter dance, Giovanni had insisted on standing in, and Sofia had cried through the entire Anno. Song Dante pulled Maya aside. Sofia watched from the edge of the dance floor as he knelt to her sister's eye level, saying something that made Maya's face grow serious, then break into the biggest smile. "What was that about?" Sofia asked, when Dante returned to her side. "I asked her permission. Officially." Dante wrapped his arm around Sofia's waist, told her I wanted to adopt her, make it legal, if she wanted. Sofia's breath caught. "And?" She said yes. Said she'd been hoping I'd ask, because having the same last name would make things easier at school. His smile was soft. "She also made me promise that you'd still be the boss of her, not me, because Sofia's better at the mom stuff." Dante. Sofia couldn't speak past the lump in her throat. "We'll file the paperwork next week. By summer, she'll be Maya Reyes Moretti legally. Our daughter." He pulled Sofia closer. "Our family." As the night wore on and the stars emerged overhead, Sofia found herself standing at the edge of the garden, watching her wedding reception unfold. Maya was teaching some of the younger kids how to find the Big Dipper. Isabella and Giovanni were arguing good-naturedly about the best wine. Dante's cousins were sharing embarrassing stories that made everyone laugh. This was her life now. This beautiful, complicated, sometimes scary but always full life. Dante appeared beside her, pressing a glass of champagne into her hand. "What are you thinking, Mrs. Moretti? That title sounds strange. Good, but strange." Sofia leaned into him. "I'm thinking about that night in the alley, how I almost walked past, how different everything would be if I had. But you didn't." Dante's arm circled her waist. "You stopped. You helped. You changed everything." "We changed everything," Sofia corrected. "Both of us. Together." "Together," Dante agreed, clinking his glass against hers. "That's how we'll do everything from now on. Build businesses, raise Maya, face whatever comes. Together." Sofia looked up at the same stars Maya loved, the same stars that had watched over them that terrible, wonderful night 1 year ago. "I love you, Dante Moretti. Even when it's complicated. Even when it's scary. Maybe especially then. I love you, Sofia Moretti." He kissed her temple. "Thank you for finding me. Thank you for saving me. Thank you for staying." Maya's voice called across the garden. "Sofia, Dante, come dance." They're playing the fun song. Hand in hand, they walked back into the light and music and laughter. Back to their family, back to their life. Sofia had stopped for a bleeding stranger in an alley, unaware he'd been hunting for her, and in saving him, she'd found everything she'd been searching for without knowing. A home, a family, a love worth every risk. Forever was just beginning, and it was going to be beautiful. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you loved this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.